Margie Osmond joins us again, the Tourism and Transport Forum Chief Executive. Good to talk to you again, Margie. You must be pretty happy.
Well, I must be just about ready to retire my Madam Doom and Gloom T-shirt. Yes, this is definitely travelling in the right direction.
You would have been over the moon when Dominic Perrottet first said from November 1, anyone can come into New South Wales so long as they're double vaxxed, but it was pulled back by the Prime Minister later in the day when he said, no, initially only Australians or their family members can come into the country. Do you agree with that delay, if you like? We'll get to tourism eventually, but are you happy with that move by the Prime Minister?
Well, look, I do think Dominic Perrottet's messaging of this morning is incredibly important for the industry, because what it says is it's possible. I want to take it there. That's where we're going. Now, the Prime Minister has obviously pulled back a little bit, but that's really, I think, fairly reflective of what we thought was going to happen in the first place anyway. It's going to be visiting friends and family. It's going to be people catching up with the ones they love initially when they're vaccinated. After that, we really do need the students back at the speed of light, because those students not only support the university sector, but are an incredibly important skill base within the hospitality and tourism industries. And to be honest with you, international tourism of people coming here is not going to take off unless there is no quarantine, which we now have a view of. But in addition to that, it's softened the holiday of a lifetime. And wonderful as Sydney is, they are coming here to go to the Great Barrier Reef and Mingaloo and Uluru and the Barossa and lots of other places. So we need those other borders open.
Indeed. Now, I think initially, obviously, the people rushing to get back here are going to be Australians overseas anyway. So what the Prime Minister has formalised would have been what naturally would have occurred. But it's understandable him making that priority. And the other issue, as you mentioned, is those state borders. Let's have a look at what the Health Minister in Queensland, Yvette Darth, had to say about that today.
If New South Wales are going to be letting international arrivals in with no quarantine from the 1st of November, we've got no time to waste. This virus is coming, it's coming to Queensland. Everyone needs to get vaccinated now, because we can't talk about the plan forward and opening up if Queenslanders aren't coming out and getting vaccinated in big numbers.
Fair enough, a sensible message there. But Margie, this shows the beauty of Dominic Perrottet's move, pushing ahead, and even with the Prime Minister pulling it back a bit, he's really accelerating the pace of the other states, isn't he? They have to catch up and deal with reality.
Absolutely. I think it'd be fair to say that New South Wales has been leader of the pack for a while. This just cements its position with the new Premier as being willing to look at the business outcomes. I mean, I do think that we've heard enough of why not. Now we have to hear the why and the yes we cans. So, and it's incredibly important to the whole economy. And the other thing too is if New South Wales isn't travelling and Victoria isn't travelling, that impacts the tourism industry across the whole country from a domestic point of view as well. There's no revenue coming in from that point of view while we're in lockdown and not able to travel into other states.
Well, I've spoken to people today, personal friends, and this just demonstrates how stark the choice is for those other states now. Those states that have been reluctant to open borders, that have been sort of pursuing COVID zero. People who have been desperate to go on holiday for extended periods in Queensland are now booking overseas holidays. They can't get into Queensland. It'll be the same for Western Australia and Tasmania, of course. So they go overseas instead. So they're doing themselves economic harm.
Well, it is a great shame. I mean, I would obviously prefer that everybody spent their money here in Australia. But, you know, if you're craving that time on a particular kind of beach, well, yes, I suppose Fiji is looking quite good. And even Bali is now open, but not yet to Australians. So there's quite a bit of movement happening around the traps. And I do think that the other one that's got to happen soon, and we've got to get some clarity on, is the cruise industry. I mean, there is no doubt that Australians are dyed-in-the-wool cruisers, and they're desperate to get back on a cruise ship. So we really need to get some certainty from the federal and state governments, but largely the federal government now, on when we can start that domestic cruising process again.
Well, we just had one of the cruise company pull out of the summer season yesterday or the day before, weren't they? But the rules have changed again since they've done that. So again, that could be a moving feast.
It really is. And I think it's like the issues around the international travel piece. Much of that is going to be to do with aviation capacity. Now, we have lost so many international airlines, their routes, their pilots, their planes, everything has gone to other parts of the world. Getting those planes back is not going to be easy. And I think that's what New South Wales has seriously grasped, that they need to start instilling confidence into that international aviation market and supporting our own iconic domestic airlines to feel like they can start planning and be definite about